One of the features that stands out the most on ergonomic keyboards is that, instead of a traditional spacebar, there is normally a cluster of keys for each thumb to use. This can be intimidating at first, but once you get used, you'll never want to live without them. In fact, you might feel like you need more. Give me more, give me more. My goal today is to help you get the most out of your Thumbkeys, from the very basics to the most advanced features. Let's start with the default thumb key configuration that comes pre-installed in our keyboards, the Dygma Race 2 and the Dygma Defy. But you can recreate this setup on any ergonomic keyboard with a similar number of thumb keys. If you are a more advanced user, please check the timestamps in the description to skip this section. Step 1. Understanding the basic configuration. The Dygma Race 2 is a keyboard designed to be easy to transition to. So in the default configuration, all 4 main thumb keys have the same function. Space, just like on your normal keyboard. On the bottom row, you'll find Enter and Backspace on the left-hand side and Delete on the right-hand side. Those are keys that we use a lot and are usually difficult to reach, like Enter is here and Backspace is there. That way, you can easily press those keys without having to move your hand. Enter, Backspace, Delete, instead of Backspace, Enter. You will notice that some of the keys have 2 functions, like Enter and Layer 3. That's one feature that's going to come in handy with Thumbkeys. You can make a key behave differently when you tap it, in this case Enter, and when you hold it, be it a layer or a modifier like Shift, Command, Control, Alt, whatever you want. You will also find those keys in the default thumb cluster for the Dygma Defy. Let's check that out. This thumb cluster is a bit more crowded because the Defy doesn't have a modifier row like the Dygma Race 2. So besides Space, Enter and Backspace, as well as the keys to access Layer 2 and Layer 3, you'll also find Control, Command/Win and Alt. Since the Dygma Defy has 8 thumb keys on each side and not all as equally easy to reach, there are some keys with secondary functions, such as battery reading, Bluetooth pairing, a super key for copying and pasting, an example macro key, and even 2 unassigned keys for you to decide what to put there. Step 2. Customizing your thumb keys. Now that we've mastered the default configuration, let's start customizing the thumb keys. Here's my recommendation. Record yourself typing and take a good look at which key you naturally use to press space. Most of us use only one of our thumbs for space, so that frees up other keys. For example, I only press space with my right thumb, so I have placed other keys that I use a lot on my Race 2 main thumb keys, like Command, which is the equivalent of Control on Mac, Backspace, and Alt. And for the Defy, here are a couple of examples from other team members. Our head of product, Manel, has big hands and he places them slightly slanted on the keyboard, so his thumbs naturally rest on an outer thumb key instead of the default one. Thus, he's moved space to those keys. You can also find Enter on both sides, Backspace and Delete on the left, and the modifiers split between both sides, with Command and Shift being in comfortable spots for him. Finally, he's using one-shot layer keys on both sides to easily access Layer 2, which he uses for navigation, a number pad, and F keys. One-shot layers are particularly useful. Tap the key and you'll move to that layer for just one key press. Hold the key to shift to that layer while holding it. Double tap to lock to that layer until you tap the key again. Our beloved video editor, Anna, has a slight different approach. She mostly presses space with her right hand, so she's used the opposite key for backspace, just like me. Then she has Command and Alt to the left, with Command being one of the most used modifiers on Mac besides Shift, just like Control on Windows, and Enter on the outermost key on both sides. So, Enter. On her right hand, she has set up the right Alt and Control keys, which are barely used on Mac. As Manel, she uses one-shot keys to access her layer 2, where she has arrows and multiple shortcuts. Finally, Anna uses emojis a lot. So she has one of her thumb keys set up to a shortcut that opens the emoji picker on Mac. One important thing that I want to highlight is that these thumb clusters I just showed you are the result of multiple adjustments over several months. We recommend making adjustments one key at a time. That way, you won't feel overwhelmed by the changes and you'll be able to gradually train your muscle memory to the new location of the keys. Also, don't be afraid to undo a change if it doesn't work out. Change isn't always better. Like I had hair and now I don't. That change is not better. Step 3. Supercharge your thumb keys. With time, you'll find that you want to add more and more things to your thumb cluster. More functions, more layers, more modifiers, so much that you might run out of thumb keys, even if there are 16 of them. That's where Superkeys come to the rescue. Superkeys allow assigning up to 5 functions to a single key, but for thumb keys, we recommend using only tap and hold. That way, you can have a key on tap, such as space, backspace, or enter, and a modifier or a layer change on hold, such as Ctrl, Shift, Alt, whatever you want. Here are a couple of examples of layouts with multiple thumb keys using Superkeys. For example, our CEO, Luis, has multiple Superkeys on his thumb cluster, like space and L2, his editing layer, delete and command, or backspace and layer 3, which is his navigation layer. However, you'll notice that his main thumb keys have only one function, space on the right and shift on the left. I've taken it a bit further, and I even use Superkeys on those. In my case, space and layer 4, my symbols layer, and backspace and shift. This requires a bit of adjustment, as sometimes you might get a tap when you wanted the hold, and vice versa. Fortunately, you can customize different settings and their preferences, typing and keys. My recommendation is to set the overlap threshold to 80% or higher, and the minimum hold time to 60 milliseconds or higher. If you get accidental holds, increase them. If you get accidental taps, reduce them. I can't curl my thumbs comfortably, so my bottom row thumb keys are paired to secondary functions such as battery level or Bluetooth pairing. Luis, on the other hand, has keys like Alt, which he has placed next to other modifiers like Shift and Command, so he can press 2 or 3 of them at the same time with his thumb. Smart. Bonus: think outside the box. What if, even with Superkeys, you feel like you need more thumb keys? Well, then it's time to think outside the box. Or should I say, think outside the thumb cluster. With time, you will discover that some functions work better elsewhere. For example, instead of caps lock, I have tab and a layer key that I use for formatting shortcuts. And Luis, our CEO, has enter and layer 4, his media key layer. Another idea. I have Ctrl assigned to my F key with a super key. So tab is F and hold is Ctrl. This makes cycling through tabs in my browser super easy. I just have to do hold and tab. This is known as Home Row Modifiers. I only have Ctrl, but many people prefer to have all their modifiers in the Home Row. If you're curious about how to do that, check out this other video where we share tips and tricks on configuring them. And that's it. Now I would like to hear from you. How is your thumb cluster configured? Would you be able to go back to a normal keyboard if you had to? Or would you miss your thumb keys dearly? I would certainly. Please leave a comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until the next one!